Is my fiance cheating on me? My fiance and I have been together for 7 years. Prior to that, we were together in our early 20s and had our first child. We were separated for many years and got back together in our late 20s and had a second child. We now have 2 children, 2 dogs, and both have full-time jobs. We've always had a great love life until our second child. Right around when he was about 3 months of age, things changed. In my partner's line of work, there were lots of meds around. He used to just do it as a fun here and there. It never bothered me because it was never a thing, but soon it was becoming every other day thing and not just the odd weekend. I think the pressure of having a big family and working got to him. He was laid off and his addiction went rampant. He did horrible things to me. Manipulated, lied, you name it, it was done. Hurt me and the kids in more ways than you can think. But when I finally had enough, he straightened out. Yes, he had some slips in between, but he stayed sober after his best friend died from an overdose. He had a good support system, and that's what really helped him. His mom and dad are very close. We all are. We helped him through it. I should have left him then after what he put me and the kids through, but I love him. I always wanted to have a family. To make matters worse, during that time, there was some internet type of cheating going on. Also, he was trying to pick up some 18-plus worker girl and stopped himself before it happened. But it was all there, and I had to see all the conversations. He was really messed up on meds then. Fast forward a few years later, and he's clean and sober. Our love life has been up and down due to the children, our work schedules, and of course my trust issues I have with him from the past. We kind of go through ups and downs where we'll be intimate for a couple of weeks straight, and then not at all for a week or two. It goes up and down. My partner has a higher drive than me, so I never cared that he watched the hub or anything like that. I'm also on medication that lowers my drive. But when we do it's amazing and magical. And our connection is strong, but honestly feels like we were made for each other. It wasn't until recently that he gave me his phone so I could take a picture of something, and I saw a message pop up. The message was under his work name, and I saw kissy faces. I clicked on the message and noticed some flirting going around, lols and kissy faces. Things like, I saw you at Tim Hortons, kissy face. And other messages like, I'm having dinner, you coming? And other messages with winky faces and lols, etc. He said, have a good day, kissy faces, and other general conversation about work was mixed in there. What struck me was the conversation feed was deleted from before today and on. I went into the history and pulled up the phone number and found that they have been talking for a long time. The reason why it was saved under his work name is because the person works for HR and does payroll. I asked him about the convo, and he mentioned, but it was just the dirty payroll lady. He had mentioned the payroll lady before and said that she's kind of a dirty office girl, and it's just a funny little thing they have going on. Harmless flirtation, and it never bothered me before. He even said, oh honey, she's like a middle-aged, horny old lady, and she looks like a troll. You have nothing to worry about. I did hear a slightly inappropriate conversation between them one time, and he chalked it up to the dirty payroll lady. I asked him, why did you delete the rest of the messages, though? And he literally said, because I didn't want you to see the flirting. I said, if you have to delete it, obviously there's something you don't want me to see then. And why does your cell conversations on the phone go so far back? He said, because it's the HR girl. I said, why wouldn't you save her own name then? If you're talking that often, why the company name still? Upon looking at the history, I noticed that there were many phone calls in the beginning, as it should be when you're getting a new job. Then, it should then dwindle down to nothing. Maybe the odd one. And if did, until I kept scrolling and there were tons of phone calls all the time. It wouldn't make sense if it was just for HR reasons. I then clicked on his trash folder while talking to him and started going through it. I noticed 2 pictures. There was one picture of her chest with a tattoo on it, and 2 completely naked pictures of him in our bed. My heart started racing and I started thinking about the office girl he told me about. All the times he had said, I got to make the payroll girl happy, and I thought it was just a joke. Innocent flirtation joking around like, he also told me this girl was an ugly troll, but in reality, she's actually quite pretty. Middle-aged, yes, but blonde hair, blue eyes, big boobs. She's a decent-looking middle-aged girl and his type. The issue is he told me that he felt lonely, he didn't feel love sometimes, and I didn't give him the attention or affection he desired. We were going through life and being new parents again. Getting over trust issues from the past, I was working full-time and exhausted sometimes. He said she would flirt with him at the office, and at first it was just innocent. But then he started to like the attention. Everything started to click, and I started to realize all the times he had talked about this payroll girl. I felt dizzy, sick to my stomach. I found her on Facebook and saw the tattoo on top of her chest in one of her photos. I also pulled up where she worked and he was friends with her. I didn't message her. I seriously wanted to, though. He tried to minimize everything and apologized and said that he shouldn't have sent the photo, but he was just trying to get her to leave him alone. I said, okay, sending a naked picture of you is going to get her to leave you alone? And I said, what if a guy at work liked me and we were innocently flirting and then I sent him a naked picture of myself? I said, would that still be okay? Probably not. The issue is the deleted conversation feeds and the multiple phone calls that I can't see. He won't admit to anything else. He didn't even admit to the photos when I asked him if there's anything else going on aside from flirtatious conversation. He said no until I told him I saw the photos and pulled them up. The thing is, he's lucky that I don't go to her work and say that she was sexually harassing him and get her fired. At first I was angry with her, but then I actually started to think about it. Every single chick wants to be angry at the girl because it's easiest for us to blame the girl rather than blame our spouse. She might have initiated the flirting, but he could have set up strong boundaries and shut that right down. And to try to say that it's her fault and he just sent her the picture because she wouldn't leave him alone is such BS. I don't think I buy that. And he referred to her as an ugly troll, and she's not even ugly. And that's on the back of my mind, too. He goes to work and sees this girl all the time. After a heated discussion, he had the nerve to say, "What, you don't see your part in this?" As if it was my fault. And I actually started to believe it was. The worst part about it is my daughter heard us fighting. Our house isn't very big, and we went and talked in our bedroom, but she could hear, instead of saying that he made a mistake. When talking to our daughter, he tried to blame his coworker, the payroll lady. Instead of saying to our daughter he was going to make it right with mom and do whatever it takes to fix it. He said that she was flirting with him, and he sent the photo just to get her to leave him alone. She's turning 13, so her perception of our relationship and how her dad treats me is going to be everything for her. He totally manipulated our daughter. We were planning to go on a trip together. The kids have been really looking forward to it. Before our son, we always used to take trips with our daughter. When our son was born, she kind of felt left out and we stopped taking trips. Things changed, COVID happened, and everything was expensive. And now that we're at a place in our lives where everything's been good for a while, and we now have money saved to go, everything's ruined. My daughter is completely crushed and she blames me. The final issue is I asked him to text her and tell her that it's over. I even gave him prompts. I said you could message her and say, "Hey, we can't keep doing this. My wife is catching on that something's up. This has to end." And then I wanted him to show me what she was going to say in front of me, and I wanted him to call her in front of me without saying that I'm there listening. I wanted to hear what she'd say. He said, "I'm not doing that. There's nothing to end. You're making this into something bigger than it is. It's just a photo. It's just innocent flirting." Of course, "I'm sorry, I know the picture was wrong, but it's not what you think. I will tell her at work." I said, "No, I want you to end things in front of me. I don't care if it's with a text message, on a phone call. Pick one." He outright refused. The question is, do you think because there was only one photo each sent that it's just some innocent sexting? Do you think there's more of an emotional connection than I think? Is this as big of a deal as I think it is? Is sexting cheating? Am I partially at fault for not giving him his needs?